Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our final senior episode of Daybreak. I'm Addison Deal.
And I'm Nick Konopka. In this week's episode, we'll be joined by some very familiar faces to celebrate this year's UView graduates. This will be, of course, accompanied by our campus and city news.
You won't want to miss this week's episode, as we'll be showcasing our senior video and interviewing our seniors about their time in the studio over the years.
Stay tuned. We'll have all this and more coming up. Wake up and smell the coffee, Pittsburgh. Your final Daybreak of the year starts right now. Welcome back, everyone. Before we start sharing your campus news, here's your weekly weather update with our very own graduated senior, Evan Laurent.
Thanks, Nick and Addie. I'm Evan Laurent here with your weekly weather update. Pittsburgh is known for its ups and downs in many aspects during the spring and any season, but this year is no different. You'll come to find that this week will consist of a very temperamental set of temperatures. In other news, watch out for low-flying aircraft. On our way to the weekend, things are going to stay bright and sunny. In fact, we'll actually reach a high of 80 degrees this Friday. But from the weekend on, things are looking a bit dull and dreary here in Pittsburgh, with temps that fall as low as the mid-30s. Hopefully, soon enough, we'll be faced with nothing but sunny summer skies. And until then, we might just have to settle for allergy season. You know, Pittsburgh, the one place where you can get sunburn and frostbite within 24 hours. That's it for Daybreak's final weekly weather report. Now back to our hosts.
It was a shock this morning when I had to walk out without my jacket, or with my jacket on,
I know,
actually.
I didn't have one, and I was quite
chilly.
Yeah,
Chilly.
Just like the other day.
No, literally. I was regretting it so hard whenever we were out filming, and I did not have a jacket on, and the wind was blowing, and then it started hailing randomly in the middle of the day.
The windbreaker did not break the wind at the
It
very
really did
least.
not. Thank you, Evan. We certainly miss you here at Daybreak.
Now it's time to catch up with the latest of the events here on campus.
It's time for your Point Park news.
On Friday, Point Park's Campus Activities Board held their annual Bison Blowout, marking their most attended event in 8 years. 565 students gathered in Village Park to decorate pet rocks, jump on inflatables, and fill up on free chicken and waffles and bubble tea. The event was attended by Interim President Chris Brusalis, who launched himself several feet off of the cliff jump inflatable. If you missed the event or did go and are just looking for another blowout, CAB will be hosting a bingo blowout this Thursday, April 20th. This will be their final event of the year, and according to sources, the prize table will be pretty hefty. Thursday's bingo blowout will be held from 9 to 11 in the Lawrence Hall Ballroom.
Point Park is holding its Lavender graduation again this year after much success last year. Lavender graduation is an opportunity for LGBTQ+ individuals to be able to graduate true to their identity, such as with a chosen name rather than a given. Additionally, Lavender grads will receive a rainbow stole to wear during regular graduation. It is open to all undergrad or graduate students and will be on April 22nd from 2 to 5 p.m. Participants can sign up online through a link in their emails.
To celebrate the grand reopening of the Center for Media Innovation in West Penn Hall, Pittsburgh legend Rick Seaback came to campus for a live podcast hosted by Point Park students. The WQED broadcaster, best known in the city for his documentary Kennywood Memories, spoke to members of the various student media organizations, including UView's own Natalia Hillen and Samantha Hindman. During the podcast, Seaback dished about his favorite restaurant in the city and how he started his career as a broadcaster. After the event, Seaback took audience questions and shared stories about his cross-country travels, while attendees munched on cookies adorned with Seaback's face. The podcast with Rick Seaback will be available soon on the Center for Media Innovation YouTube channel. Did you attend the Rick Seaback event?
I was there. It was a really great event. I really loved meeting him. He's a really great guy.
Yeah.
He had lots of interesting answers to questions. He really knew how to tell a story.
He really did. He's probably been interviewed so many times that he's just a pro.
Literally.
He just rolls through. He hears a question. And he's like, yep, I got an answer for this one.
Experienced broadcaster. And he talked about food a lot, which I've only seen like a few of his things, and I did not know that food was like such a big influence for him.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching that Kennywood Memories one, and like
nice.
It was really cool. I was just sitting there, I was like, this is like a full circle moment.
No,
This
that's
is
so
really,
cute.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the break, Addison and I will share with you all the latest here in Pittsburgh.
And UView senior and station manager Zoe Vitelli will be giving her first and final Daybreak report.
You won't want to miss it. Daybreak, we'll be right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Welcome back to Daybreak. As usual, we're here to break down all the happenings in the Burgh.
For the final time this semester, let's get started with this week's City News.
Pittsburgh Promise announced at their gala this past Saturday a new scholarship fund in honor of Franco and Dana Harris. This scholarship will award 5 seniors, or Franco and Dana Harris scholars, $20,000 each to aid in their educational pursuits. The Pittsburgh Promise is a charity organization that focuses on educational equity and increasing the graduation rates here in the Pittsburgh area. Pittsburgh icons, the late Franco Harris and his wife Dana, were some of the biggest participants in the project, with this scholarship being named in honor of their contributions. Dana Harris was surprised with the announcement, saying after the fact, quote, "Educating students is just top of the list for him, but to watch now how this has grown under his tenure has been phenomenal. He would have loved this tonight. I mean, the love in that room and the generosity is incredible," end quote. The night ended with 2 couples donating $64,000 more, allowing 3 more students to receive the scholarship.
68 years ago, Bethel AME Church was demolished in the name of urban renewal, but now Pittsburgh's oldest black church is getting its land back. The Pittsburgh Penguins recently struck a deal with the church to allow them to develop a 1.5-acre lot in the Lower Hill District. According to the Trib, the congregation's Reverend Dale Snyder hopes to turn the space into a multi-purpose development that includes affordable housing, a child care center, and retail space. In a Facebook post, Bethel AME Church said that this agreement in Pittsburgh is, quote, creating a model for cities across the country to redress their legacies of racial urban planning, end quote. The Lower Hill was home to much of Pittsburgh's African-American culture and residents in the 20th century until the city claimed the land for Bethel AME to develop the Civic Arena and a portion of I-579. This new development has not yet a timeline for construction.
Students from colleges across the Pittsburgh area gathered in support for awareness of sexual violence and support for survivors. Roughly 150 students in matching t-shirts marched down 5th Avenue, holding signs and chanting support for survivors. The march concluded at Paws Bar Patio, where students shared personal stories of sexual violence. This is the 2nd annual March for Sexual Violence Awareness. This is also the first year that Chatham and Duquesne joined, with Carlow University coming up with the original idea. Alex Pierce, a trained peer educator at Pitt who helped plan the event, said in a statement to the Pitt News, quote, "The main point of this march is to put an emphasis on all of the universities in Pittsburgh that have issues with sexual violence, and to give survivors a space where they can talk about their feelings. It is survivor-focused across every campus and connects survivors to different resources," end quote.
If all the other schools in Pittsburgh are joining, I feel like Point Park should join that march.
I think we had like our own like kind of section of it. I don't know
Okay.
if we were in the official march. I didn't see us on the list, but
Okay.
I know we did something that was close to that. It might have been like a smaller section.
Okay, it's nice that they got to advocate for that cause.
Yeah, it's a really important cause, especially in college campuses.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Now let's hand things over to our lovely station manager and senior Zoe Vitelli for your national news.
Zoe?
Hello Daybreak, I'm Zoe Vitelli and I'm here with your national news. According to a conservationist group, the Ohio River ranks at number 2 for the most endangered rivers in the United States and is only topped by the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon. The group America's Rivers publishes an annual list and deems America's most endangered rivers. The Ohio River is the main drinking source for more than 5 million Americans, and the river runs through or along the borders of 6 states and for over 900 miles. The director of community programs at Three Rivers Waterkeeper says although the river spans many miles, it unites everyone. In the Allegheny Riverfront, a radio program covering environmental issues suggests that, quote, the Ohio River should have federal protections similar to the Great Lakes and the Chesapeake Bay, end quote. America's Rivers says that the upper river is threatened by industrialization and pollution, but the threat has been amplified as a result of the train derailment in East Palestine this past February. America's Rivers is advocating for Congress to designate the river as a federally protected water system, as well as supply funding to restoration and sanitation commissions. In other news, on Monday night, the Minnesota House of Representatives passed the 2023 Environment, Natural Resources, Climate, and Energy Budget Bill. This is the state's largest investment into natural resources and the environment. Only passing by 10 votes, the $670 million will be allocated to the funding of the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, the Minnesota Zoo, and many more organizations that are dedicated to protecting our environment. The bill includes $93 million for replanting trees and responding to insect infestations, while $6.6 million are going to be used to address aquatic invasive species and to cure the state's wild and farm deer populations of disease. Another $348 million will be used to fund lower energy costs and to create clean energy jobs to combat climate change. House Democrats in the state claim that the legislation will, quote, ensure that Minnesota remains a clean energy leader by establishing programs to unlock and leverage federal energy programs. On the other side, House Republicans counter that the bill does nothing to provide greater affordability, reliability, and safety. They say that the increase in fees for boating and fishing licenses will make enjoying the outdoors more difficult. The bill was passed along the House party lines and is now in the hands of the Senate.
Thanks so much, Zoe. Before we get to the meat of our senior episode, we're going to take one more brief break.
I know you're all excited, but don't worry because Daybreak will be right back. Hey!
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. My name is Craig Ferkowski.
Tonight, we'll cover all your international, national, and local news.
Australia is one of the most biodiverse countries on the planet.
Over 8,000 items are to be auctioned off at Pittsburgh International Airport on October 22nd.
Last Thursday, the House committee investigating the January 6th attack chose to subpoena former President Donald Trump.
All this and more coming
up
up on
Newsnight.
Newsnight.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Cuts off.
Welcome back. To kick off our annual Daybreak Senior Celebration, let's take a look at this year's senior video to get a better glimpse at all of the incredible UView graduates and what their time here has meant to them.
Created with love by myself and the help of Grace Lawrence, here it is.
So I started UView literally the second that I could. I came into Pioneer week, the welcome week thing, and my Pioneer ambassador was this really annoying little person named Jessie Dillon. Love of my life, bestie for real. But, you know, first day of welcome week, they were like, hey, is anyone here a broadcast major? And I was the only one. And they were like, come join my show, Newsnight. And I said, okay, I'll be there. First week I anchored. Sophomore year I was producing. Junior year producing. Senior year producing. And now I have to give it up.
This week on Newsnight, Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto traveled to Washington, D.C. last week to meet with officials about gun legislation. President Trump accepted the resignation of the now former National Security Advisor, and the Pentagon is announcing new budget cuts coming to the military. All that and more coming up on Newsnight.
And I got started because I was just always extremely passionate about broadcasting. Since 8th grade, I knew that it's what I wanted to go into. Probably since before then. I always told my mom I wanted to be like an actress, and she was like, are you sure you're not more of a behind the scenes kind of person? And I used to take that as an insult, but I mean, the people who really have it together are the people in the back. So shouts out to you guys. Love you all.
I started UView last year, my first year on campus, and I started because our lovely Point Park alumni, Jessie Dillon, was in my history class that I was taking, and they said, if you're in broadcasting, you should definitely think about joining UView. And at the end of class, they came up to me specifically and they were like, you're in broadcasting, come to the UView interest meeting. And I was like, I will definitely do that because I want to make friends. And it kind of just stuck because everything was really fun. Let's take a look at today's weather forecast. The high for today is going to be around 69 degrees, with partly sunny skies. Unfortunately for the sun lovers, we'll be seeing more cloud than sun today. On a high note, there's a very small chance of precipitation. It was really fun, just like being introduced to everything. Everyone was really welcoming, and yeah, I just liked the experience. I liked what it added to my college experience.
I started UView my freshman year, second semester in the spring, a few weeks into the semester. I heard about it throughout my first year, throughout the first semester, never went to it, but I don't know if it was scheduling or what reason, but I remember hearing a lot of people in my classes were going to it, and yeah, just word of mouth, they wanted me to go too, and you know, I went to the first meeting, looked at the different shows, and yeah, went to my first UView meeting.
Okay, here's the second one. Evan.
Toy Story.
Yep,
or one of them. I don't.
Evan,
Yeah.
I was ready. I actually started from my friends Nicole and Elena. I'm on the dance team with them, and it was Elena's senior year, and I always talked about how I was interested in reporting and kind of wish I went into that for my major, and she brought me here, and I loved it ever since.
After waiting 2 years to bring back the famous Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, it is finally making a comeback with one of the greatest lineups they have ever announced. The headliners were officially announced on January 12th, and it includes the astonishing Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, and Swedish House Mafia.
I have a lot of amazing UView memories, but I think that my favorite, sorry Grace, is gonna be all of last semester when I got to teach Grace how to use the board because she didn't know how to use it all that much. So I walked her through every step of the way, and it was a really big learning experience for me to be able to verbalize the things that I do and have been doing for the past 2-3 years and finally pass that knowledge on to someone who understands it and gets it and she's with it. And Grace has done a phenomenal job, and I have absolute nothing but faith in her to take over the show and everything else UView related. So my favorite memory has been watching Grace grow from the shy little freshman that she was to berating her enough to the point where she's a pinned contact in my messages now.
I don't want to be so general, but I liked hosting the movie segments on EOP. Mostly my sophomore year before COVID, it was on a consistent basis. But yeah, after COVID, whenever we were virtual and online, it got a little bit inconsistent. I know afterwards when I came back in person, it was more sporadic, but yeah, I just got it going and hosted the segments. There'd be a theme. But early on, I remember hosting the segment and asking a few friends to go on it, you know, to get a foundation for what it was gonna be. And the goal was 5 minutes, and it ran way over 5 minutes. And I remember one of the crew members frantically like giving me the rap signal to hurry it up. But yeah, it was those first few segments of those, getting a foundation, getting an understanding of what that segment was gonna be. Those were pretty fun, but like I said, there's a lot of good memories. The different shows, different segments, different people, yeah.
I'll definitely miss just the atmosphere and everyone's energy in general. Coming here is always so much fun, and it brings me so much joy, just meeting new people outside of my major too, and getting to know people, and everyone is just so nice and kind, and it brings warmth to my heart, and I'm definitely gonna miss that.
So literally every single Wednesday from the day I stepped foot on Point Park's campus, I have been in a studio for Newsnight, literally every single Wednesday. I've missed a couple because I had COVID one time. I missed one, probably freshman year because I was a freshman. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to that. But I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself Wednesday nights. I'm gonna miss everyone. Obviously, like without naming everyone, but you guys know who you are. Just like everything. Like I come here and it's not work, and I get to hang out with all my friends and mess around the entire time and make something that we're really proud of. So I'm just gonna miss you a lot.
I think I'll just miss, I'll miss everyone very, very much. I love coming in every show and just like goofing around, or like seeing everyone like goofing around. And I think I'm gonna miss that a lot. I'm also just gonna miss being a part of like the team. That's the biggest thing, I think. Like, I love that I can come here and like work with other people, and like we come out with this like really nice product, and we have fun while we do it. And so I think I'm gonna miss working with everyone and just like creating something from the ground up, essentially. I think it's really nice.
The remaining members, you're probably gonna hear this a lot, but it goes fast. I know in my case, and the ones that graduated with me can also say, the 2 years in between, the pandemic years, completely blur. I do not, I can't believe it's been pushing 5 years now since I started, but yeah, take advantage of it. If anything, just get a feel for what you want to do in this field, and UVU's the perfect place for that. Not everyone's going to be an on-camera person, but everyone needs, there needs to be someone to fill every position. So you got to find out what you want to be, and then just go with that. But it isn't also a final. You can always find your footing, or find what you want to do in this field, behind the scenes, in front of the camera. I know it sounds like it's contradicting itself, but at the same time, find what you want to do, but also explore different things about this field.
My words of wisdom would probably be follow your heart, because college is definitely up and down roller coaster of what you want to do. You figure out what you don't want to do. So even if you see UVU or something and you really want to go to a different show or join a different club, like just follow your heart, because it's really hard in life to figure out what you want. So definitely best to just follow your heart.
I've learned a lot of really valuable lessons. I think like the two biggest ones that I can think of right now, definitely be yourself and just be open and, come as you are. I think that's a really important part of UVU, just showing up and being who you are naturally, because you'll always be welcomed. And just like be hands-on. Like do as much as you can, and like be open to trying new things. Everyone's gonna encourage you to try new things, so this is the place to do it, definitely. I think if you're gonna try anything, you should do it while you're in school, while you have a good support system, while you have people who are still learning just as much as you. So I think, yeah, be yourself and don't be afraid to try new things.
was Thank you. I hope you guys liked it. You guys are all so well spoken. It was hard for me to figure out what was each of your best questions to put in there because they were all so good. Now that we've seen the video, let's have a more in-depth conversation with our seniors one last time. Thank you all so much for coming.
Let's kick off with the interview. So I feel like whenever I came into UVU as a freshman, there was like upperclassmen. I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cool. I want to be like them. Who was your guys' like upperclassman that you looked up to, or someone just even through the years, if you didn't have one that like you just always went to for advice or looked up to in that way? Zoe, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jessie was in a really great position for me. Being my Pioneer Ambassador, I already was sort of looking up to them at that point, even though they'll say that, you know, my group gave them hell during Pioneer Week. We were fine. We wanted to do our own thing. Okay. But Jessie, whenever we came to UVU, kind of took me under their wing and really made sure that I had the opportunities that I have now, and advocated for me always, and, you know, just the best of the best. Yeah. So awesome.
And you guys got to produce together.
Yeah, and we still text all the time.
Nice, nice. Callie?
I'm gonna have to also say Jessie, because they were the person that got me involved in UVU, and to be honest, I didn't really know which grade everyone was in until like this year, because I just didn't, it was just how it all worked out with COVID, but definitely Jessie, and I'll always be grateful for them and for getting me involved in this, so yeah.
Great.
While there's a lot of people I could say as being helpful and showing me the way around UVU, some of the earliest ones that I can remember having an impact are Cole DeAlejandro and Colton Tobias. Those two I've known since my freshman year, and just going to UVU, those two I would say like earliest memories, like they were there when I first started and throughout the first few episodes or so, first few years whenever I started going consistently.
Great. So, you know, senior year high school, you picked Point Park. Not everyone's major comes to them very fast. Did you guys know what major you wanted right away? Or was it kind of more of like you got here and then you figured it out? Or did you have something else in mind?
I could start. Yeah, originally, you know, in high school, I was into any type of video production, behind the scenes, making short films. I wanted to go to college for cinema. That was my initial goal. However, for some reason, something relating to just me wanting to be behind the scenes in general, I chose broadcast because I felt like I could get a wider, I could experience different aspects of it, and it was similar to what I was doing in high school with video production, more so than cinema. So that was the deciding factor, was leaning towards that career aspect instead of cinema production, although I still like both, going behind the scenes in both, but yeah, that's why I lean towards broadcast production.
Nice.
I initially went into theater management when I was a senior, and I kind of just realized that I wasn't equipped to work for the stage. Like I did theater in high school, but I played instruments for the shows, and that's not the same thing as stage management. So I ended up leaving that major, and when I transferred to Point Park, I actually spoke with the then chair of the School of Comm, Tom Baggerman, and he was like, so what do you like? And I was like, well, I really like being a part of a team, and I really like video, I really like audio, but I don't know that much about it. And he essentially like placed me. He was like, I think this is the right major for you. And I just believed him, and it worked out fine for me, so I'm pretty pleased.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky. I knew what I wanted to do from a young age for some reason. 8th grade, that Penn Middle School morning announcements team like really struck a nerve with me. You know, the teleprompter on the PowerPoint and the whole shebang. So Going through high school, my goal was to, I'm going to go into college for broadcasting, so what can I do right now? So obviously did the Penn Trafford stuff, and so when I came here, I just knew that I was going into broadcast. So it wasn't necessarily what major, it was what school.
So we're going to start back again with Zoe and then go down to Evan for our last question. Just simply, what kept you coming back every week?
Well, from freshman year, it was just something to do. Me and my roommate Zoe and my friend Frank, we were all involved in it. We thought it was a really good experience. They were journalism majors, I was a broadcast major. I knew that I wanted to be involved in UView, so it just kind of was like the right thing. And then by my sophomore year when I was producing, I was required to be here every week. So not unwillingly, but a little captive audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kept coming back every week because it was something that gave me a purpose that was like not school, like classwork, or like grades. And so I really enjoyed that, and also just I liked the relationships that I was building between myself and everyone else that was showing up. So I mean, it was just enough to keep me coming back and learning. I don't know, like it was just such an enjoyable experience. I couldn't stay away.
It's like a drug.
Yeah.
Evan?
What kept me coming back? Well, it felt like the end of the week, like the capstone, like that capped off another week. My first year especially, a lot of the people that were in my classes were in UView. So you got to see the same people again and again, and it was something to look forward to working with them, as well as, it was the Thursday shows I'd attended, Daybreak and EOP, and I kept that tradition going through all of my years at Point Park. But yeah, it was like that end of the year, a good end of the week recap of, good send-off for the week, and that wraps things up.
Now it's a good send-off for the year for you guys.
Well,
thankfully.
Yeah. Last but certainly not least, let's get into the year's and all of your final ray of sunshine.
In case this is your first time joining us, some of you guys might be, but even though it probably isn't, Ray of Sunshine is our way of starting your day off with a smile and an inspirational quote.
Today is a celebration of the hard work you've all accomplished throughout your years at UView, and a celebration of the bonds and connections that you've all made in this studio.
Though it is a celebration, it's something else too. It's a farewell. To all of our seniors, we will miss you dearly. To commemorate both this celebration and this farewell, our quote this week comes from Winnie the Pooh and reads, "How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard."
You guys are mean for that.
That was really cute.
Winnie the Pooh
That was
always
really cute.
tugs at the heartstrings.
Blame our producer, Samantha Heinzman.
I will.
Is it hard to say goodbye?
It is hard to say goodbye. It's weird because I feel like I haven't, I feel like I shouldn't be this sad. I mean, I'm graduating college, but I mean, every week I got to hang out with my friends, so it is hard to say goodbye. But it's good to be here. Yeah.
This is like the second time I've said goodbye.
Yeah.
The first in December, it was
soft launch.
Soft, yeah. Now it's like, well, this is really it.
Yeah. Anything, Callie? Any final moments? Because after this show we evaporate into thin air.
No,
so
literally.
Never to return.
Get your final moments in.
Last chance.
Final moments.
I mean, like Evan said before, COVID really blurred a lot of our college experiences. And so from what is still clear and what does stick with me, I'm really grateful that UView made it so amazing and just really enjoyable. So it's sad to say goodbye, but don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
That is true.
So true.
That's it for this year on Daybreak. Thank you so much for joining us.
A special shout out to the seniors who couldn't be here this evening. You are certainly here in our hearts.
As usual, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DaybreakPPU. Until next semester, I'm Addison Deal.
And I'm Nick Konopka, hoping your news here is good news. Have a fantastic summer, everyone.
Go for it, Dale. We
This is a
still
good
got
one.
time. Woo!
That low flying aircraft.
Yeah. You're looking for a loss.